Hey, it's Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. Today, I want to show you the paperwork that we use every single weekend for our production teams, the run sheet, the order of service, and also the lyric sheets we have for each of the songs. And this is how we communicate the various nuances of the service to the production team. So this is probably a familiar sight. Here we are in Planning Center, and our run sheets are made going out of Planning Center, which is pretty typical. Go over here to print, and we have a special report template that we've made for our run sheet, and they look like this. Now, the first thing I probably need to draw your attention to is that this run sheet is designed for the tech team. This is not designed for the band. Nearly all the information on this is communication to our tech teams and other people that might be involved in the service. So there's nothing on here about what keys the songs are in. There's nothing on here about the arrangements as far as verse and chorus and things like that. In fact, the only thing that really mentions the band is when they might load into the stage, or communication about maybe when to start the Ableton rig in terms of the countdown. But other than that, all the information here is communication to those that are running production, running tech. Now, this template is programmed to take anything that is in the item notes that is over here, the item notes, anything that's listed here, it'll put it here. So if I go over here and I edit this and I say I want the lights to be red, we accept that, reload this, it'll show up right here that for whatever reason, if I want to communicate that I want the lights to be red, I can do that. The only exception is this arrangement note, because that's actually information I'm giving to the band for how I want the arrangement to go. It's communication for how to practice prior to getting to rehearsal. But every other item note that is here, audio, band, lights, live pro presenter, web pro presenter, switcher, producer, stagehand, all of that, if any information gets put into those categories, then it's going to show up here on the run sheet. But I'm not sure I actually want the lights to be red, so we're going to take that out, reload this. Let me kind of walk you through how this works. So when we open doors, we want audio to be playing a specific playlist on the iPod. We have our pre and post have very specific playlists that we use. So that tells them what to run. The switcher needs to switch over to the computer that is running announcements, which is a different computer than our normal Pro Presenter station. At 5 minutes before the service starts, we run the countdown, which means that switcher needs to flip over to the Pro Presenter station, and not only on the main feed, but also some of the aux feeds that control the commons and also control the main screens that are in the room. The band needs to load the stage from the green room at about 1:30. And then here, when we actually start the song, it says here that Jonathan is the lead, singing the lead on that. Switcher needs to switch over to camera 3 because we are running a lyric video for that first song coming out of our Ableton Live rig. And it's using a line labeled camera 3 because we generally use that as a third camera when we're doing baptisms, but we also have an A/B switch. And from time to time, we'll switch over to that to do like a lyric video. So it's just letting the switcher know, hey, it's labeled camera 3, but here's what we're doing. And then we're communicating to the band that we want to start Ableton Live with 9 seconds to go, because that song, Lion in the Lamb, we do the Bethel version, and it has that little keyboard thing that kind of starts at the beginning. And we want that keyboard thing to actually play while the countdown is still going on. So when the band hits, and when the full band comes in, that is the 0 of the countdown. So to time that out, we know to start Ableton Live at 9 seconds to go, and everything hits when it needs to. After that song, we do our welcome and announcements. One of our pastors, Kyle Cook, is going to do that. He's going to use the guest belt pack. And then we go into these other songs. The beats per minute are on here, not necessarily for the band. It's to communicate to audio what the tempos are of the song, so that if he needs to dial in delays, he can do that. Now, he can tap the delays, and most of the time he does that, but sometimes he likes to be able to really get specific and convert the beats per minute to milliseconds and all that. So that information's there if he needs it. Going into the offering, I'm going to do that. The band continues to vamp. The singers are going to exit. And lights, we communicate that I'm going to do that from my singer position. Sometimes I might go to the front of the stage. I might move from my position and go to the center part where the pastor normally delivers the message. But in this particular case, I'm communicating to lights that I'm going to stay at my singer position. And then we also need our stagehand during that time to put the podium out for the guy delivering the main message. Now, for the actual message section, we had a video this particular weekend where our senior pastor, Vern, he wasn't able to be in service. So we had a video that kind of explained why he wasn't there and set up the fact that our associate pastor was going to deliver the message. So we ran that video, which led into Scott Kinney, our associate pastor, delivering the message, and then invitation prayer. The band loads the stage for that. We do the response song. It's only acoustic in keys. It's not the full band. I do a dismiss while the band continues the vamp, and then as the guests exit, audio plays the playlist again from the iPod. Live Pro Presenter needs to throw up the thank you slide, and which also has our copyright information for the songs that we did, and then Switcher needs to show that and put it on not only the main but also aux1, which is the main screens in the room. Now, in addition to the run sheets, some of our positions also get full copies of the lyrics. That would be our lights position, our producer, the person running the camera switcher, and then obviously our two pro presenter stations. We have a station that is for the live screens in the room, and then we have a separate pro presenter station that is just for our web mix, for our broadcast mix. And these are full lyrics. So, if in the bridge, if we sing this line 4 times, then it's on this lyric sheet 4 times. If we sing the chorus twice, then it is on this lyric sheet twice. This is a full, complete roadmap of the arrangement of the song that the band is going to do. So some of the information that's on here, we note who the lead singer is, and is it just that particular singer that's singing at that moment, or is it more singers? Is it all the singers? We put that kind of information on here. By the way, this version of This Is Amazing Grace, this is the Jeremy Riddle Bethel version, not the Phil Wickham. So if you're playing along at home, you know that version starts kind of with the acoustic and the pads, and then as it comes into this second verse, the electric guitar kind of comes in with a little bit of a lick. So we might communicate that. Obviously for lights, we need to make sure that he's lit, maybe to some degree, maybe not completely, but certainly not left in the dark. It also lets the switcher guy know that there is a guitar feature there. If you want to get that kind of a camera shot, he can do that. So we're talking about like what's going on, who's kind of the focal point at that moment. Is it a singer? Is it an instrument? We're also talking about dynamics. Is it small? Is it big? That's going to be good to know, especially for our lights position, because the lights need to follow the dynamics of the song. And they're going to be in the rehearsal. They're going to hear the song and they're going to know. But this gives them a heads up that this section is growing, this section is getting smaller, and they can begin the process of planning how they're going to do their lights. So here in the second verse, it says that the band is slightly building. It gets a little bit bigger, but not much. Jonathan is the only singer, but halfway through we add in these female harmonies, so we'll need to bring up front light for them. It gets stronger. Here's all the singers, and then at this moment it gets really big. And again, the electric guitar is featured because it has that lick, and on it goes until it's strong, all singers, and all that. Here's another example with the song "The Greatness of Our God" from Hillsong. It starts with that little piano riff. So here we say the piano's featured. Again, that is communicating to lights. It's also communicating to the person setting up camera shots. And it's also communicating to the pro presenter stations. They know that there is an intro there, a significant long enough intro that they probably don't want to put words on the screen. Sometimes when you go from a chorus back into verse 2, it might go straight into it, and so you want those slides to be together. If there's a turn, if there's like an instrumental section, then there's a significant amount of a break that you're not going to put words on the screen, and it communicates that so they can plan their pro presenter slides appropriately. So here, going into verse 2, the band is in slightly, but Jessica, the person singing lead on this song, is still, it's just her, so that lets them know how to light it and everything. You get to the instrumental section, it's building, and then the bridge, if you know the song, it rocks pretty hard. All the singers are in, that section is very large, it's huge, but then it breaks down and it's just Jessica. Same thing, it's communicating dynamics, it builds some more, and then we rock it out. And then we end it with that piano riff, just like we started the song. So that's how we communicate with our production ministries using run sheets and lyric sheets, kind of giving a roadmap for how that service is going to play out. Well, thank you so much for watching. Here at Practical Worship, we love sharing ideas and tips and practical advice for the everyday worship leader with videos just like this one. So if this was helpful, hey, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. That way you know when new videos hit here at YouTube. And if this was helpful to you, it might be helpful to someone else that you know. You might consider sharing this on social media like Twitter and Facebook and places like that. And for more great practical advice about leading worship and all the nuances to that, check out practicalworshipblog.com.